Someone with your exact resume is already building, and you're still telling yourself just one more year. That's the most expensive phrase that could come out of your mouth. Now, there are people that are already climbing this hill. People who've had the same decades of corporate experience, the same zero experience in entrepreneurship, but they're moving. And we have to understand the compound effects of them moving this way and you not moving, still waiting for the right time. Now, by the end of this video, you're going to understand very specifically why one more year is just going to be a pattern that keeps recycling in your life. Secondly, what the waiting is actually costing you. It's far more than you want to admit right now. And thirdly, why the window to take action is only 12 to 24 months. It doesn't stay open forever. If this is our first time meeting, hi, I'm Matt Doan, the founder of Corporate Graduation. We help directors, VPs, and executives move from corporate to founder in 12 months or less. And this is including all the twists and turns, the long game involved, because there is no quick move. And the reality is there's no perfect moment either. We need to get into motion now if this is the thing you know you need to do. Now, to understand where you are after this video, make sure you take the corporate graduation diagnostic. It just takes a few minutes. When you take it, we'll ask you a few honest questions about what's going on in your world. We've thought through all the questions we need to ask, and then you get a full report and a roadmap on all the gaps ahead of you, what you need to know that you don't know yet about making the transition from corporate to founder. So click the link in the show notes or check out diagnostic.corporategraduation.com. Have you ever caught yourself just waiting for the perfect timing? I did all the time. One more year till I can start my business. I've got to vest these RSUs, or we've got a bunch of vacations coming up. It's a busy sports travel season. We've got all the things. Well, there's big costs to you not doing something you know you should be and getting those effects in motion. And if you're not careful, this perfect timing argument just keeps renewing itself again and again. Now, there are two futures available to you. Now, you're on the corporate path, as I was for 15 years, and it's been good to you. Let's say you're at this point, you've made your way well along it, and it's created a lifestyle, foundation, reputation, it's got you a skill set, all the good things. But at some point, whether you choose it or whether external forces choose it, there's going to be a cliff, and the corporate path is going to go downhill. Whether you don't like it anymore, they don't want you anymore, technology overtakes what you used to do, where frankly, you just reach a state and you know you can't be there anymore. Now, the other path is the founder path, where we put ourselves in the conditions where we can move up into the right and create a level of upside for ourselves in money, how we spend our time, the impact we have in our life, the way we feel around the people in our lives. All of it gets into a better state. Now, not saying this is easy at all. We're going to have to go through something we call the dip, but you've got to understand there are two futures available, and one's compounding right now. Is it the corporate path one that will eventually bottom out, or is it the founder path that will compound in your favor? Very different activities involved in getting to one path or the other. Now, the slope is filling up, as we mentioned before. Very few people are climbing up this slope right now, but in 3 years, you can imagine people in your same profession are going to be climbing up that same hill. Let's say you've got 25 years as a chief marketing officer, and you start moving now here in scenario one, and you start compounding that, getting your point of view out there in the world, establishing your authority, being known as the person in business that gets a certain outcome. Instead, a few years from now, you've got 5 other peers doing that with you, or 100 other peers, because that's the conditions in their life. They're like, oh, snap, I need to get in motion now. And everyone's moving. Just understand statistically, where are you better off in scenario one or scenario two? We're talking about now, we're talking about in 3 years. Who's going to be earlier? What's the benefits of it? Now, there's a group of marketers out there that I love. They call themselves the category pirates, and they made this study very public after years of understanding what happens in the marketplace, which is 76% of market share goes to the first mover. The one who plants their flag first and is known as the authority, they're the ones who get all the market share. Everyone else is fighting for scraps. The 24% goes to everyone else. So if you're waiting for 3 years from now, guess what? You're going to be entering into a much more crowded space, whatever that might be. Maybe it looks a little bit like your corporate past. Maybe it's something different. But the way things are going, there's just going to be more people on these hills ahead of you. You've got to ask, are you going to let that transpire? So are you going to be the one capturing the hill and planting your flag, or will you just be paying everyone else rent? Kind of like you are right now in a job setup. Now, of course, you'll ask yourself, when I climb this mountain, Matt, and I plant my flag, what the hell am I doing? Great question. First and foremost, understand that expertise is dead. The death of the knowledge worker has really taken place. Before, you used to be valued for what you knew, how fast you could execute, or just frankly outworking your colleagues. Now, there's a different set of things that are being rewarded. Understand these three pieces very carefully. As you start to move into being a founder, there are three things. Number one is your taste, your beliefs, your point of view, what you want to see true out there for the people you aim to serve. Secondly, your vision, that storytelling, the ability to create a new narrative, to have others want a new future for themselves. Just as I have with corporate graduation, my job is to paint a very specific vision about what people can step into to get them to see what's possible and pull in the right folks. And then ultimately, you got to back that up with conviction. The nonstop beating of the drum, which says this needs to happen for the right people. Understand that in climbing this mountain and planting your flag and ultimately creating a founder business, taste, vision, and conviction are at the core of all of that. Not what you know, not your knowledge base, not your 25 years of history. There's substance there, but there's a whole lot more that we need to bring to life. And people that understand this are creating new businesses, entire new categories upon which they can graduate corporate from. That's the whole game. Now, picture yourself a couple years into the future. Imagine what could exist that might not exist today. Imagine having a public body of work where people hear about you, they hear about your business, and then guess what? Like an Amazon review, they can go look it up. And they're like, wow, this person really has something to say. I like how they present themselves. I like what they stand for. I could see working with them and getting an incredible outcome. You start to then have real authority where people start to see you as the first person they think about whenever that outcome needs to take place. Again, whether your business is B2B, helping organizations, or B2C, helping individuals, doesn't matter. You want to be top of mind. You want to be the person that they think of. You want to be the person that AI surfaces in a search Saturday at 11 p.m. and they're like, wow, this is the person. You want that for yourself. And then ultimately, at that point, you've created a new path. Whether you're still in corporate or not 2 years from now, you've got options that you don't currently have. Again, that's if you decide that the 1 more year argument is going to hurt you and you need to actually break that pattern for yourself. So 2 years, it's coming either way, but you got to ask yourself, what will you have built 2 years from now that doesn't exist? One of my mentors always says, think in terms of assets and outcomes. What could you point at in that new state that you're proud of that doesn't exist today? What could you show off? If you don't have anything new to show off other than more time at a company 2 years from now, that's going to be a real problem for you in particular, if in fact you know that moving up that hill and planting your flag is a huge part of your future. So just to implant this in your mind, there was a scene in the Spanish-American War in 1898 where Colonel Teddy Roosevelt saw this opportunity to capture a hill, a very important battle, the Battle of San Juan. So this 40-year-old in spectacles, in raging fire coming at him, leads everyone up the hill in heavy fire, is highly exposed, but he keeps climbing. And in doing that, that was the ultimate unlock for winning that battle. And if you fast forward a few years, Teddy Roosevelt is president of the United States. He established himself as a legend in braving that hill and planting their flag and taking the hill. That's the same thing you need to do, is scan the hills out there, choose the one you know you need to climb, and go take the freaking hill. Because sitting at the bottom of it with that crowd is not going to leave you anywhere better off. There are people taking the hills right now. Question is, will you? Now, I stress this with all of my clients. This is not some 60, 90-day experiment and then you're all done. Don't let social media lie to you on this one. If you start now, you're going to get into a journey. There's going to be a lot of twists and turns. We unpack it in other episodes. But ultimately, expect at least 12 months of substantive work, of unlocking from corporate and figuring out which hill you need to climb and starting to trudge up it and learn all the different skills you need in order to get there. There's going to be a lot of hard times. You're going to get knocked down. You're going to have to change hills. That's all part of this journey. But you have to embrace that in getting going, you're far better off than deferring one more year. So to start now, you can become that founder a year from now. You can make corporate optional, but you have to climb now. You have to climb patiently. Don't expect to rush this whole scenario. Now, you might ask yourself practically, what does planting your flag actually mean, Matt? Okay, from a business standpoint, as a founder, imagine that you've got this amazing gold that you're sitting on right now. This is 20 years of career capital. We've got to understand what that is. There's a whole excavation process, a way of structuring it, turning it into intellectual property. From there, you can start to design an entire new category. You can define the hill, say, this is the one I'm going to climb, and you're going to pull the right people in that you want to serve at the top of that. And then at the back end of that, you're going to structure it actually into a product, into a business that can serve those people. Understand though, it's grounded in what you've been through, your gold, and then moving that into a category, into a product, into a business that can serve the people you're after. Tangibly speaking, you'd see things like an advisory practice come to life. You might run a transformational cohort, might write a book, as many of my clients do, start up a podcast, build a bit of a media empire in order to get the word out there for the people that you're aiming to serve. A lot of my clients, they're very extroverted. They'll run workshops. Many are moving into software, converting their IP into something that can truly scale and maybe even sell at one point. Licensing, keynotes, there's so many options that spawn on the other side of planting your flag. Again, your gold creates a category, and then you can build a business where there's a lot of different products available to you. That's what all of these are various forms of product that can serve people that you aim to help there in the world. But it's all on the other side of you choosing to climb that hill. Now, to make this real, let's look at some examples in public. So you take James Clear with Atomic Habits. I'm sure you've read or seen that book. It's the basis of his category, what he's known for, and what he can charge for a range of products and services out there in the world. Or take Cal Newport. You won't find him on social media, but you'll see his books for sure. His idea of deep work really hit the idea of productivity and brought it to a new level. And he's got an entire space where he commands attention in that world. Chip Conley, the modern elder, great example there about how to really package decades and decades of wisdom and being someone who's truly wise for a group of people in this world that need you. Or Simon Sinek, Start With Why. There's lots of different things. You've got to ask yourself, though, based on where you've come from, maybe you're a former director of software engineering, a chief operating officer, a CMO. There's so many variations you can bring to life. And what you learn to do over time is what we call category design. That's what you see here in these examples. In doing category design, you're using very specific language to craft your own hill and to plant your flag and start to invite the right people to join you. That's what starting a unique business is all about. You don't want to jump into a red ocean. You don't want to be another business that looks like all the other businesses. They got to naming the hill and then they climbed it. Okay. So the hill is wide open. You've got to embrace right now that you're earlier than you think. But again, 12 to 24 months, that's your window. If you wait, think of all the other people that will start their journey out of corporate into foundership. And if you aren't on that path, where will you be 2 years from now while they've all been climbing? What real estate will be sucked up that's not available to you at that point? You've got to plant your flag. So let's just end the whole excuse of one more year or waiting for the perfect timing. You're never going to have the perfect timing. Getting in motion right now is so much more beneficial than waiting. Messy motion compounded over a couple of years, even with some starts and stops, is going to benefit you way more than waiting it out. Now, I appreciate that this may look like I'm saying everyone should graduate corporate, climb that hill, and be a founder. In fact, the opposite is true, and I want to stop and be very clear with you that this move is not applicable to at least 99% of the population. They should stay in corporate jobs. Now, if you're in that 1%, you're going to have this inner voice that won't shut up, kind of like it did for me, and you're going to pursue it. But ultimately, I want to be honest with you on how hard this is, all the things you're going to have to go through and overcome. And in this next video, I'm going to show you who it's for, who it's not for. And on the other side of that, you'll see really if you're cut out for this and if the journey continues to make sense for you. So click the link here or check the description below for that video, and I'll see you over there.